Right, let's do this. Number 1, age of consent. This one is a much debated topic in Japan today, but the legal age of consent is 13 years old in Japan, and one of the lowest in the world. Age of consent referring to the minimum age at which a person is considered to be capable of giving consent to sexual acts. In fact, this has been part of the Japan Penal Code since 1907, more than 100 years without change. Interestingly, most prefectures in Japan have statutes and local ordinances that raise the effective age to between 16 and 18 years old, while at the same time leaving some gray area for specific cases. At the end of the day though, the national age of consent in Japan is 13 years old. Number 2, marrying cousins. On somewhat of a lighter note, it's legal in Japan to marry your first cousin. Like many of these laws in the video, it may be legal in some countries, or if you're from the US, in your state. But the truth is, in other parts of the world, marrying your first cousin is still against the law, so I thought this one was worth mentioning. This law dates all the way back to Japan's Meiji period, when it was passed in 1898. It's common enough in Japan that there's a word for it, itoko-kon. In fact, there have been many famous and well-known people in Japan who have married their first cousin. For example, Japan's 56th Prime Minister, who's the grandfather of Japan's more recent Prime Minister, Abe, was married to his first cousin. There were even 2 Prime Ministers after him who were also married to their first cousin. One of the reasons for this law was to allow families to keep their wealth within their family. Fortunately, for those living in Japan today who also want to legally spend the rest of their life with their first cousin, Japan is all for it. Number 3, defamation. So this is an interesting one. In Japan, you can sue someone for defamation if they damage your honor, aka public image, even if the statements are true. This one kind of blew my mind since I'm from the US, and we understand defamation to be the oral or written communication of a false statement about another that unjustly harms their reputation and usually constitutes a tort or crime. But in Japan, hurting someone's honor or even hurting a company's honor is protected by law, despite the statements being true. I should note though that many laws in Japan leave a lot of gray area, but the main 3 criteria for defamation in Japan is: 1. The statement is shared with the general public. 2. It reveals specific facts whether true or not. And 3. Damages one's honor, either socially, their value, or how they value themselves. So for example, telling your coworkers or the public that your married boss is having an affair with someone, even though if it's completely true, is considered defamation in Japan. Even online statements, if the 3 previously mentioned criteria are met, can be considered defamation. There are exceptions though, such that you're stating facts about public interest or you're a whistleblower to expose company fraud. But at the end of the day, the Japanese law is to protect individuals and companies from malicious actors that intend to do their honor or image harm. Here are 2 examples that actually happened in Japan. Case 1, in 2018, a person was having an affair and it was posted on social media by a third party. Although the affair was happening, the person sued the third.
We've already seen this shit, huh?
もうね近いことはかなり言っちゃったんですけれども